are we waiting for Tom or was he joining?
He said he was going to join, but let's kick it off.
Okay. All right. So I put in the invite, if you look in there, I put in like a tentative agenda that I think that we should maybe kind of review with this procurement guy. And I talked to obviously Chris this morning about it a little bit too as well. So my thought pattern, and we can kind of gauge who speaks where. I just kind of started to put some random stuff in there. But my thought pattern is obviously a brief introduction, right? That's going to be number one. I was just talking to Chris. I think I'm going to skip bullet point number two,
Yep.
provide a concise overview of Nutanix, and jump right into understanding what his existing knowledge and information is of what Nutanix is. Because the reason why I want to skip number two is because once we gauge what he knows about Nutanix, then we can address that misconception of, oh, it's solely just ESXi replacement for VMware. We don't want him to think that, right? We want to make sure that he understands that we're a lot more, and can address, any of their, Broadcom issues that they're having today, right?
Right. So I'll stop you right there. When you're talking to procurement, what's most important on someone from procurement?
Typically, project wise, it's going to be, so what are the projects that his IT department or that has been mandated to kind of send them down, or what is important, right? So if he knows that they're having issues with Broadcom because of whether it's cost, whether it's availability, whether it's whatever it is, then they're going to want to look at that as a project, right? So that's the reason why I want to educate them on a high level of what is it that we are doing to address, the Broadcom situation, because that's how he responded, Steve, when I sent him an email, and the email was based off of the Broadcom exit strategy or alternatives, and that's what he responded to, that he wanted to speak about.
Okay, so that's okay, great. You've got him to confirm some of the agenda. For procurement, they like to know from the beginning, not at the end, what the project is, who you're dealing with, because too often than not, procurement are caught off guard, and they don't like that. So I would make sure that in your conversation that, almost like when I was at Contour, there was a procurement guy in the corner, and I asked him, whatever his name was, Fred, whatever. People looked at me, and he looked at me. I said, "What's important to you?" I'm guessing that you would like to be involved in the project up front so that you're more educated for when the proposal comes to your desk, you have a really good idea. And every procurement person that I've met with, and I've met with people that are head of procurement at investment banks, say the exact same thing. That's what they ask for. The people running the project never do it. So they rely upon people like yourself and Chris to kind of drip feed them information. So I would make that assumption, and I'd be shocked if he didn't say anything other than, "No, Aaron, that would be great."
Right. I would agree, but we're not working on any project, or not working with anybody with MVF.
I know, but it's always good to state that up front so he knows you've got his best interest.
Oh, all right. So you're saying, start off by saying, currently we're not working with anybody within VF Corporation, but would like to know what is top of mind for you. Is that what you're?
No, I would say, listen, I've met many people in procurement, and I understand that it's important for you when people like Nutanix are working on projects, that you would like to know up front what the project is and the kinds of things you're being asked to do, because he wants to be educated by the time it gets to his desk. Because I would almost make an assumption. I understand, and I think it would be important for you to know up front the project and what the project is about, So when it comes to you, you're not on the back foot. And what you're doing is you're playing to procurement's guy's ego. They all have egos. That's the thing. So you're playing to that ego.
Hey, Steve, let me ask this question. So, Aaron, the person in procurement, how high up are they? Just curious.
When I look at, I mean, I've never talked to the guy. So when I look at, it like in like Zoom, or if I look at,
Okay, look, it's okay. Let's just say we don't know. We don't. But let me ask this question. My question to him is that, hey, I'm just curious. What piqued your interest in taking my call?
Oh, well, that's
Now,
before you joined, Tom, before you joined. So I sent an email to him about the Broadcom
I
exit
thought-
strategy, and that
I understand,
was
but what
he responded to.
I understand, but I get that. But what about that? Does he think we're a lower cost alternative? I guess my thing is I'm trying to figure out for that person. Hey, yeah, we're an alternative. By the way, if Broadcom never bought VMware, we've been an alternative since day one when we came to market with our entire stack, right?
Right.
My question is what's piqued their interest now?
Yeah.
Well, my VMware is going to be 3x. Well, I'm not telling you I'm going to be lower cost. I want to set that expectation with you. I'm saying that I may have a similar widget. I may be same or different cost. I don't know. You see what I mean? Because I think here's what a lot of people think in the market, Aaron.
Yep.
I run ESX and I want to get rid of it because it's becoming too expensive and I want to run your hypervisor, AKA Nmar, and go, well, you can't. You have to run an ATI stack, which is a very different strategy from your current technology stack. So it changes the talk track. Calhoun knows as well. So I'm saying is that what specifically is it that you don't like your experience you have today? Are you under cost pressure? Has someone told you need a dual strategy? Those are the things I would peel out so we don't run on a fool's errand of, well, I'm just looking for a way to get rid of ESX and run something else. And it'd be like, well, let me help you with that. We ain't the guy.
Yep. Basically, the question is, why are we here today, essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, but okay, because there's something about something about the VMware Broadcom. But what specifically about that are you trying to run toward, away from, avoid, et cetera? In other words, go find their pain, and then find the timing around that pain. Well, what if I could do it for the same cost? Are we doing business? What if I could do it for 10% more? In other words, you're just trying to get to the point of, I know they're taking the meeting, but there's probably something in there that they're fear, uncertainty, and doubt around with the future of Broadcom. And it may be, hey, I've been told to explore alternative solutions.
Yep.
And then that's when you can ask a million questions. So.
Yep. The other thing is, Tom, you're spot on. You also have to be prepared for, he's taking the meeting. And you said, Aaron, he wants to talk to you about the Broadcom debacle. That's pretty much why you guys got the meeting, or what?
So I sent them an email specifically about, Broadcom exit strategy or alternatives, right?
Right.
And these in Nutanix obviously is a big alternative. And he responded that I would be interested in speaking about that.
Right. So you ask, you're right. You confirm why he's taking the call. At some point he might just say, well, yeah, I responded, but I don't know. You tell me why we're here.
Yeah.
He could be an idiot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he might be able to turn it on, and I'm just accepting the call,
Yep. And that's exactly why I put that agenda together to say, maybe gauge, well, after we ask that question you were just talking about, maybe gauging, what is his knowledge, of Nutanix? Do you have any past experiences? What is the current understanding? Because obviously we don't want him to think that that we're just an ESX, that like Tom just said, I don't want him to think that we're just going to be, we're going to be much lower, or that's the fix to everything. We want to make sure that he set that expectation. So
yeah, and you can't assume this guy's technically inclined. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah. So one thing, Steve, that a lot of us do accidentally, I mean, it's not our intent, but it is what we do, is we get an opportunity like this and we want to tell them about us. And I don't want to tell them about us.
Yes.
I want them to tell me about them.
What
I
they
want to find
have.
out.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know they were under a breach. We know they got hit, right? We know a bunch of bad stuff has happened. I want to get that guy talking. I want to get a list of, well, dude, if you guys went down this path with Nutanix or some other alternative, like who's the key decision maker? I mean, I know procurement's got a big play in that, feed his ego, but it's like, who's got to do the evaluations? And you start asking, just be infinitely curious about, well, who would make that happen? I mean, what's the time? How'd they do that last time? Maybe find out. Were you guys ever a CA customer? Are you an anti-Broadcom now? Is that what happened because you had CA before and you got burned? You just ask so many questions that you'll walk away with a bunch of stuff and then go, hey, you know what? At the end here, I think we may have a way to help. And I'd love to get an audience, not him, an audience with some of those smart players you talked about that'd be involved in this decision and do a high level overview. As a matter of fact, you guys in Greensboro, we could come visit y'all, or y'all can come to our executive briefing facilities in Durham and get the 411. So that's the way I would play it.
I would also ask Tom, I would also say, you asked the procurement again, you're tailoring it to him. What do you look for in a relationship with a partner? It could be an OEM, it could be, software provider, whatever it is. Or you could ask, what do you see as a good working relationship? Again, you're playing, you got to get these guys talking, you're playing to that ego and getting them to open up to you. I think that's also worth noting, and he might tell you, I want to be educated. Great. Fantastic. Let me know when you start, negotiating with the, our end user, let him tell you, as Tom said, let him tell you, but I always key it towards making it personal. What do you look for?
And to Tom's point, as much as we're eager and excited, hey, we've got 27 minutes to tell you all about Nutanix. We actually need to hear more and listen more during this first call if we can get him talking about where they are, why, again, we're here. Like you said, Aaron, why did you take the meeting? What is it about this exit strategy that interests you specifically the most, to Steve's point, because he is a procurement guy, and find out those details, because the education may come in the second meeting as long as we know a good foundation about their stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Now, these guys are also, and I'll give you two examples. These guys want to know, actually, let's talk about TIA, right? Tom, with Rudy, they were mandated to go out and talk to three partners, whatever you want to call it. Many procurement people are that is their responsibility. I had one investment bank where IBM was charging them certain amount per MIPS, and they wanted to go out and see, well, are we getting a good deal? So they went to places like Bank of America, who were consuming 100 times more of a mainframe than they were, and they felt that they should be charged accordingly. And so they will go out and do that too. They will go out and test the marketplace. And, obviously there's only two people that do what we do, us and Broadcom. Obviously we do it way better than they do, but that's the kind of things they like to do. They will go out in the marketplace and try to compare apples to apples and come back and say, okay, well, based on what I know, I would expect this kind of pricing from you. So that's some other things that they would like to do, but I would love to be able to hear him tell you guys, here's what I expect from a relationship, and here's how you can help me.
Yep. Yep. Let's see where we were before. We were all right. Yeah, I mean, definitely, I'm going to ask them like the questions to kind of see where we want to go from there. I mean, once we address, I would love to, I always like Chris's story you know, that he was an existing customer, you know, and then kind of using that to our advantage, and maybe throwing out some examples, if it comes down to that. Because so if he starts saying, you know, I don't know a ton about, you know, Nutanix, but this is what I know about VF, and this is where our issues are, and this is our problems and so forth. Maybe one or two, you know, examples from Chris as well. That'd be good too.
Yeah, I would also look, you know, at you, Chris, to kind of as part of the prep, you know, kind of give your experience, because I know when we did business, you were working with Simon, and then I forgot the guy or the woman on procurement, forgot her name, but you were kind of having to get all the ticks in the boxes before you brought it to her. So, you know,
Leanne Harris.
yeah,
Or no, Manisha is the one that you're talking about. Manisha Mehta.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully that'll come into play. But ideally, you know, I would love this person to speak and tell us about their environment and what's important to him or her. And, you know, hey, what's a good relationship? What's not a good relationship?
Yeah.
Just things like that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because these guys have egos. These guys have more of an ego than, unless it's an investment banker, project manager. But these guys have huge egos, and they're always left out in the lurch, and they don't like it. They don't want to be caught on the back foot. So be prepared for someone with a big ego.
Yeah. Obviously, next steps. You know, one of the things I want to know is what is that process like with vendors? You know, with VF Corporation, understanding how do we get, you know, where is that process? If when a project is sent out, established, discussed, you know, do they have, you know, is there a process where they need to check 2 or 3 different vendors? Is there a process that, you know, where we like, you know, we set up an education table, you know, like them coming up to Durham or us coming to their location, you know, so like to understand that, you know, what does that process look like? And then really obviously from there, next steps. I mean, it's only a 30-minute meeting. So I mean, there's not a, you know, hopefully, like you guys said, we'll be having them talk, you know, more than us.
Right. So curiosity, why would you under next steps be to explore the process? Remember I said earlier, they have an ego. Let them tell you, what are you looking for, Mr. Customer? What's a working relationship? What's not a working relationship? What's the process internally? Help me understand that. Does the, you know, buck stop with you kind of thing? Again, make it about them. These guys have egos, right? They love talking about themselves because no one ever does this. They just think of procurement as, you know, a tick in the box.
Right.
And I remember asking several people on our team, do you have a relationship with procurement? No. Do you have a relationship with procurement? No. I heard more no's than yeses. In fact, I didn't hear any yeses. Actually, one, Curcio and Franco, 2, maybe Shayna. Right? So we have to build a relationship with them. Make it about them. Make them tell you about their world. Let them tell you, right? Because that's what you're doing. You're trying to get to know the procurement person.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even touch anything unless he specifically asks for, you know, a portfolio, but I can't see him going that way, right?
Yeah.
So I would play to his ego first and then start to, you know, kind of guide the conversation. Okay. Don't let it get into speeds and feeds and how much, you know, how does your pricing compare to Broadcom, you know, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so I think we have our, you know, marching orders on that piece. You know, like to just get him talking.
Yeah, I don't think it's marching orders. I think what we're trying to do is just provide some guidance. And I know Tom, we've spoken to procurement. I've spoken to the head of procurement to the lowest person on the totem pole.
Yep.
But you want to be friends with them. That's what you eventually want to do. Now, if you don't have any projects, understood. But at least going into that, you find a project And I might say, okay, what are the milestones? Well, according to this person, we have to talk to 3 different people in procurement and get a tick in the box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Okay.
Again, just my thoughts. That's all. But trying to help you as best as possible so you guys can succeed and and then you ask them for introductions. Once you get to a point, hey, can you help introductions?
Yeah. Do you introduction? Are you joining the call?
When is it?
It's Wednesday at 2:00.
I think so.
Thank you, accepted.
Let's see. I have one with Ingevity, Wednesday at 2:00.
That's
I
one.
have,
That should be 1:00, right?
sorry, Nick Escape Broadcom VMware Lock-in. That's it, right?
That's it right there. Yep.
Yep.
Obviously you do introductions beginning. Do you want to have any? I mean, you can obviously speak up whenever we can, but is there anything that you want to kind of address as a manager?
I've said it all.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Otherwise, I just want to listen and I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I ask we all ask open-ended questions. Right.
Okay.
So if I see it going down a path, or if there's something I know from experience that I can bring to bear, then, I'll raise my hand and just make a brief comment or ask a, brief question, but
Yep.
I'm there to support.
Awesome. Okay.
Do you think we need to bring up the Contour Nutanix relationship?
I mean,
Hey, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, look, they know they broke them off. Just say, hey, if you're looking for a reference in your similar industry, Contour's been a customer for 5 years.
I didn't know the timing,
They
but
know. Yeah.
and if we hear that this guy's been there 4 or 5 years, maybe he was even part of the breakout or the split or whatever. So just
Yeah.
Could
wondering.
be, yeah. So it never hurts.
Yeah. What's the guy's name again, Aaron? I'll look him up to see the timing of his employment.
His name is Nick Buchanan.
and
Let me-
Tom, what is VF Corp? What are they? I know Contour, Wrangler. What are they?
Levi.
Well, VF has North Face and a lot of those other, that's their big brand.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But Lee Wrangler is VF Corp, yeah. So.
who does Levi? Do we know?
Levi Strauss Company.
Yeah. Is that an enterprise?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I'm jumping ahead. Actually, I'm thinking about vertical. What are they doing with us? If anything, never mind. That's not for this guy.
Chris, I think I found him earlier. Let's see where that is. Here he is. Nick Buchanan. No, that's not him. That's Nick Levine.
That's fine. We can look at it later. We got to maximize our time here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I think that's what I have, I guess, for everybody.
Yeah, that's fine. Now I'm gonna have the Tia call. I'm gonna have to drop a little bit before it ends because I've got a 2-on-2 with Franco.
Okay.
All right, and I'm gonna be in the car also because I gotta go. I gotta go pick up my son from school, so I will be in the car with him, but I will dial in. Okay.
All right. I'll see you in 30 minutes then. All
You
right.
got it. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.